Roman Reigns has achieved the incredible feat of 1,000 days as champion. So what better way to commemorate the fact that he already has 2 belts by giving him a commemorative 3rd belt? That is what we are discussing today here on BunkaMania Wrestling. Good day, everyone. I am Jeremy Graves. I am joined by the Dekker Dane, Mr. Ian Bolton. Welcome to the show. And as mentioned, that's going to be our primary topic for this particular little podcast. If you're a first-time listener, thank you very much for checking us out, and we hope you enjoy the show. Be you finding us on your podcast platform of choice, maybe the likes of Apple or Spotify, or if you are on YouTube. But either way, if you enjoy the show, why not tell a friend? And if you feel so inclined, why not hit that subscribe button as well, so you can be kept up to date with all the podcasts that we publish every week, quite frankly, because there's always something going up, and it's always a fun time as well. Good sir, we've got a 3rd belt. So the first question I have for you, because cards on the table, folks, I ain't seen SmackDown. I've seen like the final segment of what the BT Sport YouTube channel uploaded, as it were, from that final segment. But in terms of the actual belt itself, is it replacing the other 2 championships, or is this now literally a 3rd belt that Roman's going to carry around to look like a belt collector?
I honestly don't know, to be perfectly honest, because judging on how some of the photos, and we got 1 or 2 photos from SmackDown, which we'll look at in a little bit, but judging by the way that they are still holding the WWE Championship and Universal Championship on Paul Heyman, for example, it kind of gives the suggestion that they might be staying. I think we'll find out probably when we see the next episode of SmackDown, or the next time Roman Reigns turns up, if all 3 belts are there or it's just 1, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, I mean, I'm all for like a nice shiny new belt after a long time, because I think sometimes with championship belts, especially if they don't feel very prestigious half the time, you might get bored of the design. You might not feel kind of infused with the design. You might not react like positively to the belt like you would say like a real sort of a belt you would assume would be an amazing belt. I mean, for example, the AEW Championship looks beautiful still since its first introduction. Even as MGF has it in the sort of Burberry edition now, it still looks like a very good belt. It's like belts like, say, the NXT North American Championship looks like a great belt all the time. It's really nice. But with the WWE Championship and the Universal Championship, and with the lady and with the women's championships as well, you just have the big W, which I get it. It's kind of like a big branding thing. It's the big branding thing of the company. It's to make it clear that this is the championship, or championships per se. So when a belt refresh comes along, it's always nice to see. And I mean, it's like, I know we were kind of like on the fence really about Big Gold 2.0, or the new World Heavyweight Championship as it's now been referred to. Remember, the important word there is new, because we don't count any of the lineage before it now.
Is it new like new metal?
New, it's like new. It's like I don't know if I mentioned this on the Night of Champions review I did with Harriet Manga Girl, which you can watch with a link in the video, or in the video description below as well if you want to catch up. The way I describe it as new, it's kind of like Ghost in the Shell. It's like when Ghost in the Shell had like extra series. You had the Ghost in the Shell Rise, for example, and then they had the follow-up movie, which was Ghost in the Shell, the new movie, just to make it clear that it's not the original Ghost in the Shell. It's not the Ghost in the Shell with Scarlett Johansson. It's Ghost in the Shell, the new movie, which will become very redundant when, say, another movie comes out and that's new for Ghost in the Shell, because it's like, well, that's the new Ghost in the Shell movie. That must be the one.
Or it's a bit like when or it's a bit like when Nintendo were still releasing the 3DS, and they had like 3DS, 3DS XL, and at some point decided, we want to bring out a new version of it. We've got the 3DS, just sort of another bigger one, or a 2DS. But then to confuse it even more, they had the new 3DS. And no one knew what that meant. Like, is it essential? Can we play games on it? How does that work? What does the new mean? We don't know. It's just sometimes just a little bit of, I'm going to call it like it is, sometimes just a little bit of office chatter can go a long way to solving these problems.
Yes, pretty much. It's like new Coke. It makes no difference. It's still Coca-Cola.
So I was going to say, so when it comes to this belt, like, if it's just going to be a replacement for the other 2 belts, I get it in one sense, but I'm not going to lie, I'm really dead bored of these WWE title belts now. Like, at least Big Gold 2.0, as you affectionately called it, at least that had a little bit of a different flavor to it. All they keep doing is changing the color schemes. It's like someone's got Photoshop open and just palette swaps it. Like, picks color picker from something else they've got open in a different window and go for it. Because this new belt, okay, look, in fact, you've got your opinion first of all, which I didn't know what your thought was until off air, just before we started recording. So I'm going to hold my thought because it's not too dissimilar to yours. But please tell everyone how you feel about it.
Well, let's put it on screen. Let's have Roman receiving his belt. Look at him, so happy there with his big belt. Now, to be honest, when I first saw this on SmackDown, it looked a lot worse to me, and I think I dubbed it the Undisputed Custard belt. because the basic design of the belt, for the benefit of the audio listeners, is basically it's the same WWE Championship belt. It is still a black strap, but in the center we've now filled the backing with like gold foil, a gold color scheme, and I think instead of like a white WWE logo, it's now a black WWE logo stoned up with the thing to make it stand out. And it's like, oh, and the word Undisputed Champion is on there. No longer World Heavyweight Champion or Universal Champion. It's Undisputed Champion. And I saw this belt after obviously all the wrestling news sites were like, oh yeah, there's gonna be a new belt. It's like Roman's gonna get his belt that's gonna combine them together. And I just look at it and that just looks like the WWE Championship was a custard donut, to be perfectly honest.
I mean, I'll be honest, mate. My first thought was it looked like a cross between a custard cream and a bourbon biscuit.
I mean, where's that big mug of tea just to dip it in, just to see how long it takes to crumble?
It's just, this is the thing. There is so much more you could have done. I mean, I will say, it's not the ugliest looking belt in the world, and it's not exactly stellar. I'll just say that to begin with. We're going to come on to how it looks from a presentation point of view for the first time in a moment, because there's a recurring theme on that, which I want to bring up. But there's so much more they could have done with this. It would have looked ugly as hell. I would have been totally fine if this belt was literally half and half, like red and blue, or black and blue, whatever the color scheme are of the other belts. So that way it literally looks like it's the two belts fused together like a Dragon Ball Z fusion or something. It would have looked ugly as hell, but I think it would have actually represented it far better.
I think there was like a rumored suggestion for design where it was just an all black belt, still with the WWE logo, but instead of the red stripe across the WW, it was just a blue line instead, which was kind of like, all right, it's a bit weird, but if it's the SmackDown Championship, that kind of makes sense per se. And to be perfectly honest, it's like I kind of did like the Universal Championship color design, so when they're on different brands, because it obviously makes it associate with the brand. But yeah, it's just like we've had the big WW logo for like, or the big WWE. I don't know why I keep saying WW. It's mostly because it's just two W's and then a line. But
yeah, literally.
Yeah, so we've had the big WWE logo belt for some time, and it's been there like in previous incarnations. Obviously, when I think Rock took the belt from CM Punk, he redesigned it as well. So it's like the logo's been front and center for a couple of bits, and like you said, it's brand recognition. It makes sense to a degree. But sometimes you do want something a little bit different and something a little bit more original. I think some of the reason why I think some of the other belts at the moment are quite nice to look at. I mean, the United States Championship, the current Intercontinental, North American Championship, even the Big Gold 2.0. They're all different. That's the thing. They are different belts. The fact is, we've had this belt design now for some time, not just for WWE, Universal, and the Women's Championships. It's just dull. It's like I want something a bit more eye-catching, a bit more kind of pizzazz. I would have gone as an alternative for this. Why don't you reverse the color scheme? Why do you not make it a gold strap, and you have black backing plates again, still with the logo? Because then that's kind of okay. You're making it undisputed. You're making it like the big gold of SmackDown per se. And it all stands out. And yes, it's another weird color scheme for the belt, but it's a lot better than just going, oh, we'll just put some gold behind the WWE logo. Be fine.
Yeah, and another thing that doesn't help this as well, and this happened when we talked about the Big Gold 2.0 belt, is that the actual reveal on television, it didn't make the belt look good.
No.
Just the way it was lit, it just didn't look nice. And it's not until you suddenly look up the like official images that they put up, be it on Twitter or you look at WWE Shop at what the replica looks like, and you can get a better grasp of what it actually looks like. And I think I remembered saying that I thought that the digital render looked was it far better or worse than the television reveal for 2.0? I'm trying to remember because it's been so long since we talked about it.
I think out of this year, I thought it looked better. It definitely looked better in like the digital renders. And we've got Undisputed Championship here as well, so I'll put that on screen. And I kind of there go, all right, it looks all right, it looks better. It just looks like someone's just put some gold tinfoil behind the logo now. You can see from the basics of like the black stones instead of like the white stones there. But yeah, it's like looking at it like that now, it's not bad. I'm fine. It's like it's a slight color change, it's a slight wording change, but it's serviceable. It does what it needs to do. But yeah, it's just on TV, or especially on like the videos I was seeing from SmackDown, it just looked dull. It just
completely agree.
It's just that custard yellowy orange backing it had. It's like I just couldn't shake the feeling that this was like a custard donut belt. And it's like, okay. I mean, it might take some time to grow. I mean, they might refine the design in the next coming weeks or months for TV, just to make sure it actually looks what it's supposed to look like. Because like with Big Gold 2.0 now, and I'm going to keep calling it Big Gold 2.0. I'm sorry, World Heavyweight Championship fans.
New World Heavyweight Championship.
Let's do it. Yeah, let's go with New World Heavyweight Championship. So, I mean, with the New World Heavyweight Championship, we've seen it now a couple of times on TV since Steph won it. Looks fine. Looks good. It's doing what it needs to do. And because it's different from the big WWE logo belt, it does stand out quite nicely.
Has its own identity, if you will.
Indeed, of just Seth Rollins for now, because we don't pay attention to the lineage. I'm
I mean,
gonna let that go, am I?
What's the lineage?
I think you'll find that this is entirely a brand new belt.
That's another thing. We might bring this up in a minute, but what happens with the lineage of the two belts, 1 belt / 3 belts that Roman now has?
That's a good question. I think they're just going to be funneled into the Undisputed Championship now. So basically, you'll take the lineage of the WWE Championship all the way up until Roman took the belt off Brock at WrestleMania, and you'll have the lineage of the Universal Championship, which isn't a pretty big lineage in itself, to be perfectly honest. Until Roman won it nearly 3 years ago now, and then merge it into one. So basically, they kind of, in like a nice little family tree, they all just link together and they just go down.
At some point, Wikipedia editors are going to have a field day with this.
They're just me going, why? Because like it'll be like a weird family tree. It'll be a weird family tree of belts where they all get merged into one when Roman wins them. So it's like, oh yeah, this belt was fine, and then Roman took the belt, and this belt was fine, and then Roman took the belt, and these belts were fine, and then Roman took the belt. It's like, what lineage is left? Only one lineage. Only one. The Reigns lineage.
The lineage.
The lineage 2.0. So it'll end up becoming like the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, WWE Undisputed Universal, WWE Tag Team, Undisputed Tag Team. And I'm going off on a random tangent which isn't working, but it's kind of like you just have the most nonsensical. There's a chance for people in the comments and people to email in. If you had to combine all the belts into one fully functioning fluid name, what would it be? That's the challenge.
The championship.
Well, now that's just being lazy.
Hey, look, you asked the question. But you see, sometimes this is what I have to do, Ian. I have to provide the really dull answer, or I can only provide the crap, so only good answers can actually be left. That's been my role in loads of jobs I've had in my time, where sometimes I have my once in a blue moon idea, but then sometimes you just have to provide the bad ideas, so the good ideas have to come to the surface.
So we agree that this is the WWE Undisputed Custard Championship.
Yes.
Good. I like how we define the belts here.
Yeah. If I do keep calling it the custard cream, then we'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But
I'm going to get hungry for biscuits at this rate.
I know, right? So you know what? This actually brings up an interesting thought from me, because championship belts look really, really just nice in general. I mean, aside from the fact we've had like the same championship pretty much for the past decade. Is it like a decade now? I can't remember when this belt was introduced. But part of me is thinking that we could have a good little bit of fun, perhaps more so on YouTube, depending how it works out. But we'll definitely try and do something for our audio listeners as well. And I think it would be fun to do a little quiz between us of how long certain championship belts were on television for, or were in use, as it were, because some of them have been around or were used for ages. Some of them weren't used all that much. I think we can have a good bit of fun with that. So we might try and work on that for something in the next few weeks. How does that sound to you? Are you up for the challenge?
I think so. And I think it'll be interesting to go down memory lane and go, oh yeah, that was a belt design. Because the current like big W belt that we saw, I think was first introduced after Brock destroyed Cena at SummerSlam 2014. Yes, 2014. Because at that time they had both the WWE Championship and the World Heavyweight Championship at the time. They all merged it into one belt for Brock. So then Brock wasn't carrying belts around. And then that has been the template for most of like the big final belts for WWE now.
Yeah, so I think we can have a good bit of fun with that. So watch this space, folks, or listen to this space, however you indulge in our content, as it were, because there will be something with that coming soon. But also, on that note, folks, do let us know what you think of this new championship belt, be it through Twitter, where you can find us at BunkaMania UK, or if you're on YouTube, why not post in the comments below and let us know what you think of this. And as we start to wrap up here, thank you very much for listening and or watching, be it, as mentioned before, on audio podcast providers, the likes of Spotify and Apple, or if you've been on YouTube. If you've enjoyed the show, why not hit the subscribe button? And Ian, if people want to drop us an email, because yes, folks, you can still email if you really want to, what is the way that people can do that?
Well, you can super punch an email all the way over to contact@bunkamania.com. We need to have these very long championship names that combines all the belts in WWE, or maybe all the belts in wrestling. There you go. There's the challenge. Every single belt that's available in wrestling right now, whether it be from New Japan, AEW, Rev Pro, Progress, merge them. Create the ultimate belt, the ultimate one. Do across the beltiverse. There we go. Spider-Man synergy. We're going well with this.
So I've just had a thought, because hypothetically, right? Say if Roman and Solo had won the tag titles in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, no.
Roman would have then had 4 belts. Depending how this works out, this could just be an extra 5th belt, but would they then have created another belt to commemorate the tag team titles being undisputed, therefore being he's then technically got 6 belts, but potentially only 2 belts?
That's a lot of belts, Jeremy.
I know, right?
Stop it. Stop it now.
All right, fair dues. Folks, thank you very much for listening and or watching. Until next time on BunkaMania, from myself, Jeremy Graves, from him, the Dekker Dane, Mr. Ian Bolton, we'll be back soon with another podcast. Stay tuned and speak to you soon.